Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to our new vlog. I am Hussein.
I am Junaid.
I am Asadullah.
I am Badali.
I am Ali Haider.
Today we are going to explore two majestic sites and very archaeological sites. One is in Makli and the other one is Bambur. So let's join us. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our journey into one of the most mysterious and majestic heritage site of Asia, Makli, right in Thatta, Pakistan. In today's vlog, we are not just exploring tombs, we are unearthing stories carved in stone, from beautifying design Mughal area to Asian sandstones, structured covered in heritage, calligraphy, and carving. Makli is a breathtaking blend of art, history, and spirituality. So stay with us. We walk through the past and discover why Makli is called the city of silence.
Behind me, there's a tomb of Baki Beg Uzbek. The Uzbek took refuge in Thatto after the defeat from Mughal Empire. Baki Beg Uzbek died in 1640 AD. He was known as the Buddha ruler in the history of Sindh.
Behind me is a tomb of Mirza Jani and Mirza Ghazi Beg, which is the most important governor of Thatta, which is now the part of Sindh, Pakistan. Particularly in the time of 16th and 17th century, they play a key role in developing the region and also defense of the region under Mughal empires. Mirza Jani Beg was the last independent soldier and ruler of Tarkhans in Thatta. He was the son of Penda Beg and the father of Jani Beg.
Mirza Isa Khan Tarkhan was the son of Jan Baba. He became the governor in 1612 AD. There is also the magnificent and silent abode of Isa Khan, which bears witness. Behind me, there is a tomb of Surfa Khan. He was a Mughal administrator or nobleman at the empire. He held a respected position and was known for the patronage and of art and architecture. This tomb is famous for its vibrant glazed diamond with colors like blue, turquoise, and yellow, which are rare among Mughal tombs. In Makli lies the wise people friendly ruler Jam Nizamuddin, who carried Sindh into the era of freedom, people, and progress for 48 years. His time is remembered by the generation that followed. Behind me, there is a tomb of Mubarak Khan, the untouchable commander in Chief Mubarak Khan, who protected the Sindh from foreign invaders. When martyred, the people of Sindh remembered his bravery by giving the life of Dullah Darya Khan. Behind me is a tomb of Khusro Khan, who was originally a Hindu who was captured, enslaved, and later converted to Islam. He rose to power under Sultan Alauddin Khilji and became close to his son Mubarak Shah. Later on, he killed Mubarak Shah and became the Sultan of Delhi. His rule
lasted only a few months, during which he favored Hindus and Turks, non-Turks, upsetting the powerful noble. He was soon defeated and killed by Ghazi Malik Tughlaq, who then started the dynasty.
Behind me, there is a tomb of Sultan Ibrahim. Sultan Ibrahim was one of the rulers of the Samar dynasty, which ruled over parts of the Sindh during the 14th and 15th century. He was known for his contribution to regional stability and culture. His tomb at Makli is a beautiful example of early Chokandi style architecture.
Bibi Jayavandi was a kind and religious woman who lived many years ago around the 15th century. People believe she was very close to God and respected by everyone. Some stories say she came from a noble family, may have been related to Prophet Musa. Her tomb is very famous and one of the most beautiful and at Magli graveyard near Thatta. The building is round and tall with blue tiles and artwork on the walls. Behind me, the tomb of Jan Baba, one of the son of Mirza Tar Khan, the founder of Tarkhan dynasty in Sindh. After the death of his brother Mirza Saj, Jan Baba was favored by his father and poised to lead Thatta. A bitter rivalry with his brother Mirza Baki Beg led to his murder in 1570 CE.
The tomb of Makli were bought by life of their unsung local and Central Asian architecture. There are not mere building, but the architecture of the craftsmanship are on the pages of history. Seems as it if was created by being of another world. Since 1981, UNESCO has been precedent in reminding us about the prestige heritage of Makli and a need of presence of the future of our upcoming generation and for research. Fortunately, there are some major steps taken by the government of Sindh and the international communities. The Heritage Foundation has not only produced the map of Makli but also discovered 75 structures, 402 platforms, and 2000 plus graveyard are also identified.
And that brings us to the end of our journey through the silent city of Makli, a place where history, architecture, and spirituality lie peacefully side by side. Every stone here whispers the story of a glorious past of saints, kings, and common souls, all united in this final resting place under the Sindhi sky. If you ever get the chance, I highly recommend you visit Makli yourself. It's not just a graveyard, it's a living museum, a place to reflect on time, legacy, and beauty of forgotten history.
Hello and welcome to our new site, the Bamboo Museum. Let's talk about its history. The archaeological site of Bambor was inscribed on the UNESCO tentative list in 2004. Dr. F.A. Khan was first person who explored it in 1958. From 2011 to 2012, Park, Italian and French archaeological mission carried out. 2017 to till date, Park Italian joint archaeological site mission and three distinct periods of occupation has been revealed. Number one, the first and the earliest Scythopathia first generation to second generation AD. The second one is Hindu Buddhist period, second and to 8th century AD, and the last Muslim period 8th century to till now. Now join us and we explore this beautiful museum.
Behind me, there is the unglazed household pottery. A large number of complete and size in the and semi-complete of various shapes and sizes belonging to the Muslim period and that have been recovered from the bamboo. Now behind me there is the luster glazed pottery. The manufacture of this is an outstanding contribution of Muslim poetry. It was substitute for precious metal where the color used as red, brown and the shades of this color is used for Turkish red and brown and black color. Behind me there is the sgraffito poetry. This poetry has been found in the abundance at Bambor. As you know, this term sgraffito has been means a technique of incising on poetry. The common feature of this poetry is the reddish body, a coating of white clay, and a transparent lead slime.
Behind me, the painted poetry of pre-Muslim period of 7th century AD. The painting is executed in black and red on creamish or yellow background. The design are both geometric and floral. On some specimens are found representations of the rising sun, fish, peacock, snake, etc. The poetry is of thin texture and well baked. Stamped and molded pottery. Sasanian period from 3rd to 4th century, the stamped designs are generally geometric while the molded decoration consists of geometrical floral patterns and also human, animal and bird representation. A large number of pottery modules have been found along with the molded pottery and show a great rivalry of decorative patterns.
I will explore further. Behind me, a variety of objects for household and other use have been found, carved out of stone, and decorated with beautiful floral design engraved on all sides. Large and open mouth, flat cotton, cooking vessels of stone with lugs on the slides. Coins are the most important evidence for the reconstruction of the chronological sequence of a site. At Bambor, thousands of coins, mostly of copper, have been recovered, but majority of them are decayed. The better preserved specimens, however, belong to both pre-Muslim as well as Muslim periods. The other type is mostly of copper. These coins are scored, dumpy, and small were produced locally on mass scale by unskilled workmen.
Now moving on, the storage jars found in the Bamboro. Large heavy textured alkaline glass jars with coated thick glass and decorated with floral gum. Geometrical patterns, same identical specimen was recovered from Susa and preserved in Paris. Now the white pottery. It is well baked and of thin texture. This beautiful pottery was imported from Syria during the Umayyad period. Moving on the last, the glass objects. Excavation at Bambor have yielded a large number of glass objects, a few complete and semi-complete objects.